Behind the scenes, nobody better when it comes to the Wizards than Candace Buckner, kind enough to join us, Washington Post. So, are you surprised, Candace, that there's not a lineup change? It seemed like there seemingly was a lot of teasing or hinting about Mr. Scott getting in the lineup.
I would say probably not surprised, because this stays true with what Scott Brooks has done this whole entire season. He will say that he needs to find 5 guys, and whoever those 5 guys are, he just needs to find them, and they're going to play hard. But the problem is, and the reason why it's not surprising, Toronto has depth. The Wizards have Mike Scott. So if you put Mike Scott in the starting lineup, what happens to your bench? What happens? Do you play Gortat in the second unit? You can't really do that with 2 bigs, him and Mahimi. So while it would be the popular choice to sub Mike Scott in as the starting center, as he hinted in his frustration after Game 2, really, what can he do? He doesn't have that much depth.
Candace, this is a team from the outside looking in that looks like they're worthy of like a Bravo television show. So you got to tell me, because you're around it every day, do they like each other more than it seems like they do watching it on television?
I get that question all the time, and well, first I always say, do guys have to like each other to be able to cooperate, to be able to play? And the answer to that, of course, is no. I would imagine that this continuity that the Wizards have gone all in on, there's something that's not working there. So do you wonder if it's chemistry? And chemistry, of course, is can guys stand each other? Can guys be professional about it? And if they don't stand each other, can they get over those differences and play on the basketball court? That's a question to be really answered in the summertime, when the Wizards decide to go all in again on continuity or make some changes.
Candace, you were talking about the Wizards' continuity and those guys getting along. There was one incident I was hoping you could shed some light on, since you know so much about the Wizards. On the bench, you have Gortat, John Wall. They're going back and forth. Then you look over to the side. Team's second leading scorer, Bradley Beal, he's over there in straight meltdown mode. What was that all about? Is that about how things were going at the time? Was that about John dominating the ball? What was that about right there? Because that looked like total chaos.
Right. I think that moment happened in the fourth quarter, and that was a very, I would say, passionate John Wall. When he talks, uses a lot of hands. He's very quick. His words are very hastened, and that's John and Marchin having a discussion about miscommunication on the defensive end, which you can spin it both ways. Oh, it's great, these guys are communicating, or oh snap, why are they having such a lively debate? The other part, Brad Beal kind of had a nightmare of a game. So I don't think it was like, oh my gosh, March and John are fighting, let me put my head in my hands. He had a terrible game. He missed 8 of 11 shots. He fouled 4 jump shooters. 3 of those guys were taking threes, and he would say that some of them were bad calls, but as a veteran, as a 6-year veteran, you don't want to make that basketball sin of fouling a jump shooter, especially a guy hitting threes. So he was just having probably just a very deep, frustrating moment.
Well, Candace, I'm sure there'll be nothing short of entertainment regardless of what happens with this team. So they'll keep you busy. Always good to have you on the show. Really appreciate the insight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there's Candace Buckner. So I want to start here. We'll get to Bradley Beal in a second, but I want to ask you what she just kind of asked us, and we were looking at each other and realized we don't like each other. It works out fine. But from a team standpoint and from a leadership standpoint, which you were, can a team that doesn't seem to cohesively work together as people work together on the floor?
Yeah, no, it can happen. And there have been situations, there have been teams that have won championships that really didn't necessarily get along. But they were able to put off the court, but they were able to put aside their differences and go out and play and win and be productive. But this is an interesting situation. You talked about the talk all year. Even when they were without John Wall and they were playing well, and there was some tension about that, and Wall stepped up and said some things, and then Bradley Beal now struggling, not contributing that to Wall playing well. But just there's a lot of smoke, there's fire, as they say, and you just question, this team, can they get it done? Can they play to their potential? Obviously, give credit to Toronto. They are a well-oiled machine right now. But Washington, they don't seem like they're together, and it's affecting their play here in the first round.
Well, Grant, you said that there's some teams, they don't have to get along off the court to be a good team on the court. But see, when I look at this team, I see something totally different. I see a team that struggles with basketball philosophy. Because when John Wall was out, what did you hear? Great team win. Everybody eats. It was all about team. So it's almost like some guys think that some guys are playing for the team. Some guys think other guys are going out there for their numbers and stats. And when you have guys that feel like that, those teams cannot coexist, because when you're on the court and you see a guy, you think he's just playing for his stats, and he doesn't pass you the ball, then you start getting the attitude. Then that guy sees you, and then he doesn't want to pass you the ball. And a lot of little pettiness starts going on the basketball court that a lot of fans don't see. I see it all the time. This team on the court, sometimes their body language is awful.
It's kind of like when Casey's out, we tend to
not get along and not work.
When Casey's not on there, we get along way better.
By the way,
you don't like to share the ball, man.
I'll worry when J.J. Barea tweets out that you guys don't like me. That's what I'll worry.